Okay, welcome to the second screencast lecture. These slides will focus on the second part of argument, which are the three main parts of argument. So again, the parts of an argument, the issue, the conclusion, and the reasons. Now, hopefully you've all had the chance to get the textbook and would have read about this in the textbook. Now, my slides are supplement to the textbook. I don't want you to just rely on my slides or just rely on the textbook. We put both things together for you to have full and complete learning. Now, for some students, reading the textbook is enough, and going through these slides is just a little extra for you. That's good. That's good that you have that skill. For other students, reading a textbook can be a little challenging, and it's nice for those students to be able to hear a voice to kind of confirm some of the things they've read. So just be patient if you're someone who feels like you've already got this and going through these slides is a waste of your time. I promise it's never a waste of time. Learning takes time, and sometimes we have to listen to something multiple times to really get it down. So be patient, have intellectual humility as we go through the parts of an argument yet again. Okay, let's go into conclusions. We talked about issue in the last slideshow, and hopefully everybody has a good understanding of how to form an issue. Again, when you're forming your issue, you're thinking about a debate, a discussion, and you're thinking about a question that you're going to ask that will begin the debate or the discussion. So after you have asked your question, now it's time to give your position or your stance. In our class, the word conclusion is the same as a position or a stance. It's very easy to think of this word as being the end of something, like the conclusion to a movie or the conclusion to a story. Sometimes it's, confusing for students. Just keep in mind, in our class, whenever you hear conclusion, it's not the end of anything. It's not the end of the argument. It's not the end of your thought. A conclusion in this course is the way you feel about something. It's your answer to a question. It's your stance, your position, your belief on an issue. So keep in mind that whenever you're asked for your conclusion, really all you need is yes or no. And to help kind of keep this in your mind, think yes or no, absolutely or definitely not, yep or nope, true or false. So if I were to ask you, should we ban the death penalty in all 50 states? What is your conclusion to that? Yes or no? Absolutely or definitely not? Yep or nope? Okay, so that's just to give you an example of how to form your conclusion. It's your thoughts whenever you are asked about an issue. So, when you are having an argument or writing an argument, the conclusion to the issue is yours. So, if you're ever asked, how do you feel about this issue? You would answer with your yes or no. Okay, so the conclusion is very easy. It is your stance on an issue. So, here's an example. Should Chandler Gilbert open the campus and offer full in-person classes during the 2021 spring semester? Your conclusion is yes or no. So think about that for a moment. How would you answer that right now? Yes or no? And that's it where conclusion is concerned. You don't have to explain anything. You don't have to add any other thoughts to it. Not yet. So now let's put the two together. Okay? Issue, should Chandler Gilbert open the campus and offer full in-person courses during the spring semester? Your conclusion, maybe you say no. Okay? Is this an argument? Not quite. It's an incomplete argument because it has your issue, it has your conclusion, which is your stance, but it's missing the most important ingredient. The most important part and key ingredient to a valid argument are the reasons. So technically, you don't have an argument without reasons. Reasons are where we start to give all of our thoughts. This is where we put all the things in our head onto the paper. The reasons are the evidence, the premise, the justification, all of it. And they are the most important part of the argument. The reasons also answer the question, why do you believe what you believe? So then my next question is, are all reasons acceptable in an argument? Nope, the reasons must be relevant and adequate. So basically, when you begin to argue, you have to think about relevant reasons. They have to directly apply to the issue. They can't be vague, but you can sort of state them strongly, but you also can't give a lot of falsehoods. You can't just start throwing in a whole bunch of things that have no verification. That's not a relevant reason for an argument, for your argument. The reasons also need to be adequate. That means they must be substantial enough to prove your conclusion. So this is the meat of your argument. You need to give as many reasons as you possibly can to help your position. So again, whenever you're thinking about providing reasons with your argument, you want to think about the substance of the reasons. Are they adequate? Are they relevant? Are they informed? Are you speaking about things that you don't know much about and that doesn't make you quite as reliable? Or are you thinking very seriously about the issue and giving a lot of reasons that truly have substance and have truly been looked into and verified and researched? If so, then you are giving out adequate and relevant reasons. The other thing that I want to just throw in real quick is that critical thinkers exhibit what is called intellectual humility. And this is basically having the ability to revise your thoughts on issues as new information comes to light. So sometimes we think very strongly about something. And then as time goes on and as new information comes out, or maybe sometimes another person will, present their argument with their thoughts, and it gives you something else to think about. Whenever that happens, it's totally okay to revise your previous thought. It doesn't make you weak or a flip-flopper. It means that you have taken in the information and might be thinking a little differently about things. That's okay. That's called intellectual humility. That's when we kind of put our pride aside and grow into a critical thinker by, looking at all of the sides. So let's put all of it together. So now this is when you are creating the argument. So you are creating the argument. These are your thoughts. So this is your issue of should they open the campus? Your conclusion is no. Here are your reasons. Okay, so you came up with some reasons such as, there are instructors and students who are high risk. To keep everyone safe, it shouldn't reopen. This, it will ensure everyone remains safe during these times. So in this case, you have given three, pretty decent reasons, especially since this is just a little mini argument. Okay, so again, just to review, whenever you're creating an argument or having an argument with another person, okay, you are writing the issue or responding to the issue with your personal conclusion. You're determining reasons that will support your conclusion, and you want to remember that the reasons must be relevant and adequate. They can't just be a bunch of fluff or something that you have not verified. Okay, and in a real formal and complete argument, if you are going to be writing an argument paper for an English course or something of that nature, your reasons would be fully researched and fact-checked, and it would be a large, substantial paper. What we're doing right now are just small little mini arguments to get you started, to kind of give you a start at this skill. Okay? Now, the reason I keep saying when you are the one creating the argument, it is your issue, your conclusion, or your response to an issue somebody has, asked you about. Because in the next module, we're taking argument to another level, and instead of it being your conclusion and your thoughts, we will be reading arguments. When you read arguments written by other people, it becomes their conclusion and their thoughts, the author's conclusion and the author's thoughts. And so that's the only reason that I've been really highlighting the term you. So just to give you a little jump start for next week, the next module, excuse me, keep in mind when you are the one having the argument and when you are the one writing the argument, it is your conclusion and your reasons. But if you're reading somebody else's work, then it's the author's conclusion and the author's reasons. So that's my little takeaway from this. Enjoy the little mini writing argument activity that follows, and till next week.